Now at 5, General Mills announces major plant closures affecting Missouri workers. Why Jasper County's booming birth rate is encouraging for the community's future, and
the Trump administration threatens cuts to federal agencies and mass firings amid day 2 of the government shutdown. I'm Erica Brown with more on the deadlock over federal funding.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
General Mills announces major changes coming to its operations that will impact jobs in the 4 states. This is KOIM News. I'm Dow Quick. The food giant plans to close 3 manufacturing facilities, including 2 pet food facilities in Joplin and a pizza crust plant in St. Charles, Missouri. The company expects to spend $82 million on the restructuring, with $64 million going to asset write-offs and $18 million for severance and other costs. General Mills says the changes will improve competitiveness and reduce expenses. The pet food plants were acquired in 2024. The closures are set to finish by the end of fiscal 2029. Specifically, the Joplin facilities are expected to close by the end of July 2026. General Mills says employees in Joplin will have other employment opportunities at other pet food plants within the company. Pittsburgh's mayor delivered her first State of the City address this afternoon, outlining priorities that include economic development, child care, public safety, and housing. She says building more affordable homes will be key to supporting families and the city's growth.
It's evident that we need to build because we have needs right now, but that will also allow housing for our businesses that are growing, our industry that is growing. But we also recognize that in our region there is a level of poverty, and we need to also focus on housing, quality, affordable housing for low to moderate income. So I'm really proud that we have worked across all income levels to try and improve access to housing.
As Pittsburgh grows, leaders say the goal remains the same: improving the quality of life for everyone who calls the city home. Jasper County's birth rate is drawing optimism from some local officials. Now, last week we told you Jasper County has the highest birth rate in the state of Missouri, breaking down why that might be the case. Nationally, birth rates have been on a decline, drawing concerns about future workforces. For local leaders, the higher than average birth rate is a sign of hope for the community's future growth.
That represents the future for our community because we'll have new folks in our schools and in our businesses, in our communities, in our restaurants. There's a real economic impact.
Tonight on KOIM News at 6, we're going to have more on what the city of Joplin is doing to help encourage more families in the area. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy now for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, we've been warm all week long, about 10 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. And this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Another mild night for us tonight. We'll dip back into the mid 60s, upper 80s on Friday. So we're kind of teetering on hot. We're going to see the 80s through the weekend, but rain chances and cooling down a bit by next week. We just got to wait till we get there. Not a whole bunch going on. We got a few little clouds kind of skirting through. Let me walk you through time. We'll go into Friday morning, mid 60s to start. By the afternoon, 87, 88 degrees during the afternoon hours. If you're getting out this evening, very consistent, 80s into the 70s across the region. That's kind of where we're sitting right now. It's 85 in Joplin. We'll look at those changes here in just a bit.
It's day 2 of the federal government shutdown, and a day 3 is guaranteed with no new votes scheduled for today. The longer this goes, the more likely some federal workers won't be just furloughed but laid off entirely. Erica Brown has more details from Capitol Hill.
The deadlock over federal funding continues in Washington on day 2 of the government shutdown, with the White House saying no negotiations are scheduled.
We haven't wanted to negotiate. We just want to keep the government open. That's been the Republican and the Trump White House position since the very beginning.
The Democrats are holding firm on reversing cuts to Medicaid and extending subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, which are expiring at the end of the year.
This is a now thing because those premiums are hitting when on November 1st, when that market opens up.
No votes are scheduled in the Senate today in observance of the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur, but they will vote once again on Friday on a short-term spending bill to fund the government through mid-November.
I realize that my Democrat colleagues are facing pressure from members of their far-left base, but they're playing a losing game here.
President Trump is now moving ahead with plans for cuts, writing on social media that he is meeting with his budget director to determine which, quote, Democratic agencies should be cut. In a call with Republicans Wednesday, the White House also warned mass layoffs could come soon.
It's likely going to be in the thousands. It's a very good question, and that's something that the Office of Management and Budget and the entire team at the White House here, again, is unfortunately having to work on today.
The union representing federal workers is suing to stop the layoffs.
We've had shutdown, but not one time have anyone equated firing an employee in conjunction with a furlough. This is the first time this has ever happened, because everybody else understood that it would have been illegal.
Roughly 750,000 federal workers have been furloughed as a result of the shutdown. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The Office of Management and Budget dismissed the union's lawsuit, calling it frivolous and claiming it was filed in order to bolster the Democrats' arguments. Federal law enforcement expands to Memphis and Portland this week. Attorney General Pam Bondi is claiming success in the first days of the crackdown on Memphis, Tennessee. Bondi wrote on social media the Memphis Safe Task Force has made more than 90 arrests and seized more than 24 guns this week. But some there say this influx of law enforcement isn't necessary. Crime in Memphis is at a 25-year low in the first 8 months of this year. That's according to Memphis PD. Local leaders say instead of troops, they want the administration to invest in mental health, education, and housing for the city.
They're coming, whether you want it or not. Why don't we create the best situation for everybody and work together to create the best possible outcome?
In Portland, 200 National Guard troops are expected on the streets this weekend. Their directive is to patrol federal buildings where protests could occur. President Trump has called the city war-ravaged, but in a letter in Time magazine, Mayor Keith Wilson said the perception of Portland is being twisted by a 24-hour news cycle that's promoting negative clips from years ago. Still ahead, restaurant prices keep climbing and diners are fighting back with a surprising strategy.
Why kids' meals are making adults happy. I'm Nick Zechevich with more on You Dining Out Trends.
And next in Health Watch, more than 90 passengers fall sick on Royal Caribbean cruise ship. What to do? Topping today's Health Watch, we're learning nearly 100 people on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship fell ill from the Norovirus, a very contagious stomach infection. That ship docked in Miami, Florida early this morning after the cruise line reported the illnesses to the Centers for Disease Control. Christian Benavides has been talking with people on board.
I don't think I've ever been that sick in my life.
It's been rough seas for dozens of passengers aboard Royal Caribbean's Serenade of the Seas after a norovirus outbreak.
I got violently sick and I couldn't make it to the bathroom even.
Bob Pettit says he got ill one night after dinner. He's traveling with his son, Joshua.
Had there been an outbreak declared already?
We knew it was starting. It seemed a day or two after the ship visited Mexico. All of a sudden they started at the buffet with enhanced protocols of serving. The staff was serving food. I've managed so far to escape. Hopefully if I can make it one more day and get off the ship without being sick myself.
Okay, we're coming into Panama.
The ship's been on a 13-day voyage through Central America and the Caribbean, departing San Diego on September 19th and arrived this morning in Miami. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 90 passengers and 4 crew members reported symptoms of norovirus, which include diarrhea and vomiting. Royal Caribbean says it's isolated sick passengers and increased cleaning and disinfection procedures.
Is this a cruise ship passenger's worst nightmare?
It is a miserable, miserable 3 days for most people.
Dr. Eileen Marty is an infectious disease specialist.
So if you're on a ship, you hear something like this happening, do you avoid the buffet? What do you do?
Absolutely. You're going to avoid the buffet and just be very, very careful about your hand hygiene.
There is no antiviral treatment for norovirus, so if you do get sick, it's just about treating the symptoms and making sure that you stay hydrated. This is the 19th gastrointestinal illness outbreak on a cruise ship so far this year. That's already outpacing all of last year. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Your 30s might be the most important time in your life when it comes to cardiovascular health. A study in Korea found people who had better cardiovascular health in their 30s had a more than 30% lower risk for heart attacks, strokes, and kidney disease later in life. Researchers say people need to start monitoring their heart health at a younger age. New research shows education might be an effective way to prevent dementia. A study in Finland looked at twins and found those with 12 or more years of education were less likely to have dementia than those with only 6 years of education. Education led to better performance on cognitive tests and better word recall. The benefits even lasted after the age of 90. And why do women tend to live longer than men? Well, a study by the Max Planck Institute looked into the phenomenon, which is true not just in the human world, but across all mammals. One theory is that there are genetic factors which protect women from harmful mutations. Parental care also plays a role, with research showing the gender that's involved more in raising offspring tends to live longer. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, find out what adults are doing to fight rising restaurant costs.
And our temperatures have been on the rise over the past few days. Will that stick around? We'll look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be another warm, teetering on hot day for us today. But guess what? It is Thursday, and Thursday is Drought Tracker Update Day. So, measuring how much moisture is in the soil. How are we doing? We haven't had any rain this week. Kansas and Oklahoma have been doing pretty well. But on the Missouri side, so really from Pittsburgh, Joplin, Nevada, Lamar, Neosho, we're in that moderate drought, and it gets worse once you get over towards Springfield and Branson. So we need a little bit of rain. We just don't have any in the forecast over the next few days, but that will change as we get into next week. Couple little spotty guys, north central parts of Arkansas, not a big deal. Let's go through time as we go all the way into Friday morning. We'll stop this at about 6 o'clock in the morning. Mid 60s, so a mild start. As we go through the morning hours, we warm mid 80s by noon. And then once we get into the afternoon, maybe a smidge warmer than what we even have today, about 86, 87, 88 degrees on Friday afternoon. Let's go through the evening hours and then into Saturday morning. Low to mid 60s, once again, very consistent as we get into Saturday afternoon, mid 80s once again. So very consistent over the next few days. 66 to start, 83 by noon, high temp 88. That's about 12 to 13 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. But we do have Friday night, high school football. It's going to be warm, some homecomings going on. 81 at kickoff, 74 by the fourth quarter. Really no changes over the weekend. 85 Saturday, 87 on Sunday. Looking outside right now, great shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We're looking northeast right through downtown. If you're getting out this evening, we do drop back into the 70s and eventually into those mid 60s later on tonight. But look at this, it's 86 in Stockton, 87 in Miami, Parsons at 86 degrees. Here's the reason why: big ridge of high pressure. We know in the summer months, this makes us hot. We're just seeing the October version of this, but we do get some changes. First off, let's look at Sunday. Look at a front to our north. Showers and thunderstorms. The front's really not going to move from Sunday to Monday, so I think Monday's going to be dry. But as we get into Tuesday, here comes that front sinking south. That brings scattered showers, maybe some thunderstorms into the region. As the front continues to press south, look at this. We're looking at low to mid 70s for afternoon highs on Wednesday, so we get back to where we should be for this time of the year. And we have a lot of changes. I always talk about the cycling weather pattern. We're in the last few days of this pattern. This system right here on Tuesday is our last system with this pattern. Starting next Wednesday, the new pattern begins that we're going to be in as we go through the next year. So we'll have to watch how these storm systems come out, and then we can start to project forward what that means for you this winter, severe weather season, and also next summer. 88 on Friday, 85 Saturday, 87 on Sunday. Look at the 70s next week, and it's nice to see some rain chances on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, we could use that, and the cooler temperatures will certainly be welcome.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, nearly half of diners now use this trick to save money at restaurants. Topping today's Consumer Watch, well-fed or fed up? Americans are making some bold choices when it comes to dining out. Nick Sezovic takes a look at new trends and why kids' meals are making adults happy.
If there's one thing diners are noticing, it's right there on the bill.
It seems inevitable. The prices seem to go up with everything.
The latest consumer price index shows food away from home rose 3.9% year over year, and full-service restaurant price increases far outpaced overall inflation.
Eating out is expensive. We all know that.
Many customers are downsizing. A new survey of 1,000 diners in the U.S. found almost half of adults, 44%, are ordering off the kids' menu.
Of course, yeah. I love when they have a kids' meal option.
Why do you do it?
Oh, because I feel like sometimes that's all I want.
Dining right now is definitely about value.
Adoniram Sides is Senior Vice President of Hospitality at Lightspeed Commerce, which provides payment systems to the hospitality industry. He says taking advantage of that kids' menu is part of a broader trend in changing dining habits, including nearly 1/3 of customers walking out over long waits, and 40% saying rude service would keep them from returning.
There's this interesting dynamic of people expecting more in terms of the experience, but also, trying to balance out what they are willing to spend money on and what they're choosing to eat.
And despite some tipping fatigue, most people still recognize the value of good service.
I have a lot of friends in the service industry, so I know what it's like and what their wages are, so I try to be respectable about that.
One trend on the rise, solo dining, with 55% eating alone by choice. Nick Zechevich, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Top activities to occupy that alone time at the table, Instagram scrolling, and people watching. ADP's latest national employment report shows that payrolls at private U.S. companies fell by 32,000 jobs last month. That's the biggest decline since March of 2023, according to finance company Capital Economics. The report comes days before the Labor Department is due to issue its latest jobs report, though it's uncertain if the federal government shutdown will delay that release. Elon Musk is now the first billionaire to reach $500 billion in net worth. That's according to Forbes' real-time billionaire tracker. The Tesla CEO hit the milestone around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Wednesday after shares for the EV company climbed nearly 4%. And just in time for Halloween, Hellmann's best known for its mayonnaise. He's teaming up with author Jennifer L. Armentrout on a book meant to ward off vampires. Special edition copies of the writer's new book, The Primal of Blood and Bone, are infused with garlic-scented ink inspired by Hellmann's garlic aioli. A final check of the forecast up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, artificial intelligence is delivering real results in the classroom. Eye on America heads to Austin, Texas for a glimpse into education's high-tech future. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to learn more about the Jasper County birth rate increase, plus more on the State of the City address by Pittsburgh's mayor. And in sports, college football previews on MSSU hosting Fort Hays and Pittsburgh taking on Nebraska Kearney. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. And be sure to join us on the free KOAM Plus streaming app this Friday night at 7. Tune in to watch the Joplin High School Eagles take on the Carthage Tigers on the football field. It's a big matchup as it's JHS's homecoming game. Catch all the action on the KOAM Plus app, free to download for Roku, Apple TV, and your smart TV. Carthage versus Joplin.
Yeah,
good game.
It's pretty cool. You can sit right at home and watch the game.
You bet. The weather.
Yeah, it's going to be warm the next few days. 88 for us tomorrow, 85 on Saturday.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.